So, coming back to you, my second video here, and it's going to be about the questions that I've been getting asked, probably the most of the few people that do know about this. Right up there at top is, have you lost your mind? And this is not always asked directly. Very often it's in that look like, are you kidding me? No, I don't think I've lost my mind any more so than I have on anything else, which, to be honest, there's going to be a large contingent of people going, oh, he just hasn't regained his mind. He's still crazy. Okay. From that, I don't have much of an argument. I'm not the most normal person you would meet. I do things a little differently. I think a little bit differently. I act a little bit differently. Good, bad, or indifferent, I am what I am. Do I want to be a better person? Well, hopefully everybody wants to be a better person. That's just, you should. So no, I haven't lost my mind. Is this a cry for help? Do you need help, Mark? Well, of course, everybody needs help. Do I need to be locked in a booby hatch and have the men with the butterfly nets come get me? No. No. Is this odd and different and out of character for me? Yes. Yes, it is. But you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Trying something different. So hopefully that proves I'm not insane. Anyway, some questions I've received about specific things on the trail. Those of you who know me, especially people who, have been around me in the last several years. So you're taking a gun on the trail, right? No, I'm not taking a gun on the trail. I don't even want to get into why that's a bad idea. What I will do is I will refer you to the more information section. There is a video by a lovely lady who goes by the name of Dixie on the trail, who hiked the Appalachian Trail, I believe, in 2015 and the Pacific Crest Trail in 2017. She does probably one of the best videos out there about why you don't need a gun on the Appalachian Trail. And it's dead weight, it's not necessary, and just does not serve a purpose, for me at least. Are there bears? Well, yes, there are bears. Even on my practice hikes, I ran into bears twice. Once a mother and her two cubs, and once just a bear by itself. So yes, there are bears on the Appalachian Trail. You will probably see bears. You will probably see snakes. Having a gun, in most cases, is not going to make that a better situation. Being aware of your surroundings is job number one of a hiker. And then making sure that you're not intruding into the bear space and that you are being cognizant of where you are and what you're doing. Make a little noise, and the bears usually are hightailing it out of there much faster than you are. So yes, there are bears. I will not be carrying bear spray. I will not be carrying a gun for the bears. One of the items that I do have on my wish list over at Amazon, if anybody would like to get it to me, is a neck knife. It's one of those items I just didn't have the resources to get before going on this trip. But if you'd like to get that for me, I would really appreciate it. It is one of the items I would like to have as a little piece of defensive hardware that is not nearly as heavy as some of the other things that I own at this time. Food. How do you get food? How do you get your water? How do you stay alive out there? You can't carry months worth of food with you. Well, no, you're in town. I believe it's depending on how fast you're moving, every 4 to 7 days would be my guess. It may be a little more like 5 to 8 or 9 for me, because I do have a feeling I'm going to be going pretty slow, especially at the beginning of the trail. But yeah, you have trail towns that you get to, or you get to places where you can hitchhike into trail towns and resupply your food, and you have your food bag that you take with you, that you hang up at night to keep it away from the bears and the mice and everything else that want it. And that's how you get your food. Water you get from springs and streams and rivers along the trail. You have a water filtration system. You filter your water, you carry it in bottles, you drink it, and then you filter some more when you get to the next place. There's a mapping book laid out. AWOL's guide is what I'll be using along with the Gut Hooks application on my phone that lays out where the water sources are. So you know how far you have to go to get to the next water source, how much water you might need to carry to get to that place. Sleep. Well, sleeping for me is probably going to be in tents more than in shelters, just because I know that with my sleep apnea and untreated sleep apnea that it will be on the trail for the most part. I do have some treatment that I'm taking with me, but it will not be a full CPAP machine. So yes, more than likely I'll be one of those people that people will throw out of shelters because they snore too loud. And I don't want to mess with other people's sleep, and I don't want to be that guy. So more than likely, unless there is an overriding weather situation that changes my mind, I'll probably be spending most of my nights in a tent on an air mattress outside of a shelter along the Appalachian Trail. Yes, artificial leg is going to be difficult to do from a tent, from the ground, getting up. In fact, the tent that I got is an ultralight tent that was designed around using your trekking poles to lessen the weight so you don't have to carry tent poles. Unfortunately, I will not be able to use it that way because of having to have the larger side opening to get up the way that I have to get up with my artificial leg, and also due to my weight issues. So yeah, there's some things that are not optimal. And that is going to be that way, but things aren't optimal in my life the way they are right now, so it's just going to be not optimal in a different place. Laundry, again, when you're in town, you'll do your laundry. When you're out on the trail, you'll wear the same stuff, and when it gets stinky and dirty, you'll still wear the same stuff because you can't do laundry when there's no laundry. So yeah, I probably am not going to encourage people to come visit me along the trail very much because I will stink to high heaven. I know when I work, even with deodorant on, sometimes there are times that people wouldn't like to be around me. So I can't imagine 5, 6, 7 days of big luscious funk out there on the trail is going to be a pleasant thing. But I will do what I can. And, much more important for me is going to be keeping my leg and my artificial leg stump clean. That is going to be my most difficult thing, but also my biggest priority. My good foot and my artificial leg will get priority in cleaning and care. Well, here's the fun one. Where do you go to the bathroom out there? Well, for thousands of years, human beings lived without flush toilets. Some traveled across this country, and I doubt that somebody went ahead and built outhouses every few miles. So I will be doing what people have been doing since time immemorial. I'll be digging a little hole and taking care of business and covering it back up again. Obviously, at some of the shelters at night and along the trail during the day, there will be privies that I will use. But for the most part, it's going to be rough and tumble out in the wilderness. Haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do that yet, because with my artificial leg, squatting is not really a thing I can do. So I'm going to have to figure out how to lean up against a tree or something. I don't know. I really don't know. That's one of the things that also has me terrified. There are many that have me terrified. That's right up there. Then the last thing. And this one I hope people are asking, not because everybody likes to see the accident at NASCAR, but actually because they care about me and are worried for me. But what happens if something happens? What happens if you do break your artificial leg? What happens if you fall and bust your leg, or what happens? Well, what happens when somebody else has that happen? The Appalachian Trail has over 3 million people on some part of it at in any given year, so there are a lot of people that traverse it. Hopefully I will never be far enough off of trail that someone couldn't see me or couldn't find me if need be. There is cell phone coverage for a good portion of the trail. Would I like to have a GPS emergency beacon that could reach out and get me help? Yes. It's unfortunately something I couldn't afford in my budget for doing this trip. So I wasn't not able to purchase that. If you'd like to go to my Amazon wish list, which we'll put a link over in the information area there, if you'd like to provide that for me so they know where to go to find the body, hey, I'd be greatly appreciative of that. And while I'm taking off on this trip, this week, my friends who those items go to will get them to me on the trail within a matter of a few days when I do a mail drop. So, things happen. I once had a foot break off of my artificial leg in the middle of the Philadelphia airport. It was traumatic to the people near me who saw my foot break off. It was highly inconveniencing to me to have to hobble to get to a security guard, to get me on a golf cart, to get me to the parking ramp, to get my spare foot out of the car. But there's things you can do. Typically, when you break an artificial leg, you don't break it so badly that you can't at least walk on what's remaining of the leg. Usually it's the foot that breaks from the leg. If that's the case, I will walk with one leg 5 inches shorter than the other and get to the nearest road crossing and get out. I will take a chunk of wood and duct tape it to the bottom of that stump and walk out. I'll do what I have to do to get out of there. What is the option? Lay there and die? No, that's not how this works. It's not how I work. Again, pain is something I have had most of my life, and it's something you work through. So you work through. And as a guy whose job is coming up with contingencies and coming up with plans to do if something goes wrong, I've thought about what I could do, what I can do. I've planned for what I can do. I will execute what I can do. I will ask for help where I can, but I will try not to be a burden on anyone. I will try to be able to do these things myself, and I will try my darndest not to let them happen in the first place. Typically, if you get hurt, there's some element of you weren't paying attention to it. There are slick rocks. There are slick places you put your foot down that you think are solid that aren't, and you're going to take a tumble. I have a feeling I will fall hundreds of times over the course of this trail. I don't see any way that doesn't happen. But again, it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up, and I surely intend to get back up from every single fall that I possibly can. That's all the questions that I can think of right now. Hopefully I'll be doing a gear video that might show you some of the gear and things that I'll be taking along, so you can get some idea of what it is that I'm using for my backpack, for my tent, for my sleep system, for my cook system. But if you have a question, post it down below. I might do a second video on questions. If you have a question particularly for the hiking, preferably, if you have personal questions for me and want to know if I've, again, lost my mind or some variation of that, feel free to post that, I guess. Positivity is a good thing, though, so if you could be positive about it, I would really appreciate that. And Miss Glazer, I apologize for saying as many times as I have in this. Those of you who were in Exploration of Thought class with me with Miss Glazer in high school, I am sure that you noticed the and I apologize for them. I will try to get better about that. With that, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Just reminding you, each and every one of you, each and every day, make sure you lead a big and luscious life. Thank you and God bless.